like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling fearless. Exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Alright, so let's get into the Death Profit guide. I hope you guys enjoyed the little montage that I compiled earlier. It was from a 2.5k MMR and 5k MMR student. So both of them are students I've taught Death Profit to, and the same way I taught them is the same way I'll teach you guys as well. Alright, so let's talk about level 1 Death Profit. Typically on level 1, Death Profit plays Creep Swarm in order to secure creeps. Yeah, we are talking about the first melee creep and mostly the range creep as well. Now what needs to happen is level 1 Death Profit, you need to start hitting a creep to drop it low. If you haven't watched the setup mid lane video that I have made, be sure to watch that first before coming into this video. So what we want is we are looking at ways to secure multiple creeps with our swarm, right, and harass the enemy hero at the same time. So we can always add in the right clicks onto them as we are doing this. Now what this player is going to do is, like I said, he's going to set this up, going to try and set this up as well, and try and swarm it all together in one go. That's the most efficient way to trade possible as Death Profit when you're level 1, even when you're level 4, 5, 3 with more points in Creep Swarm. Yeah. So he hits the creep, tries to set up that creep, and now he drops the swarm, secures the range creep, pulls the aggro from the enemy hero onto his range creep and still harasses at the same time. That's really good. Now he's just looking for ways to secure multiple creeps again with Creep Swarm, like what we just saw earlier. Let's bring it back and see. See how he's purposely not hitting these creeps to swarm it all together, creeps with the hero as well. So if you're playing a similar scenario, try to locate openings where you're able to swarm multiple creeps that you set up yourself, so you can maximize trading and efficiency as much as possible. Okay, now as we are about to approach level 2 on Death Profit, you start getting a Spirit Siphon, which can be used to aggressively zone the enemy hero out when you are at a spot with advantage. So considering your level is higher, health is higher, you're always allowed to trade with Siphon. Do not be afraid to siphon and dive the enemy hero if your health advantage and level is higher. But typically at level 2, you aren't really that strong yet, so Death Profit level 2 will still chill compared to when you're level 3 where you can have 2 siphon charges to really dive. It is important to note that getting the 2-minute bottle beforehand, the pre 2-minute bottle. In this case, this player actually got it 1 minute 30 into the game, which is really good. It will allow you a lot of sustainability to maximize the amount of harass you can do in lane, on top of Death Prophet's already sustainable spells from Siphon. So spamming all your spells in lane is what really makes Death Prophet pop off, because every trait you take will almost be favorable. Okay, so now we see this Death Prophet has hit level 3. This is when things will start getting interesting. Yeah, when you're level 3, you can literally just walk up and siphon people off cooldown, because that's how broken this hero is. Find all the openings in the world where the enemy hero, like pull the enemy hero out of position with creep aggro, so you bait him in. That's when you move up to siphon him every time you can. So like here, this player with the big wave is really looking for ways to push in to siphon the enemy hero under his tower. Here you can see. Yep, see, he's just moving forwards. Definitely that was a scenario to siphon. This player did not manage to see it, but now he can still do it if he decides to push this now. Yeah, he does it a bit late, but works out somehow either way. So you see how when you guys dive towers, right, you don't really right click the enemy hero under the tower, because they will draw creep aggro, they will draw tower aggro onto you. Tower aggro works in a 500 aggro range, hence this player moved around the tower with just a spell plus a fortify onto his creep and chased him around his tower. Only when he walked out of that 500 aggro range is when he attacked the enemy hero. This is a very abusable trick on Death Prophet, because when you dive, even if the tower decides to hit you, the siphon lifesteal that you get from the enemy hero will sustain all of that back for you. So knowing how to do this at level 3 or level 4 or level 5 with siphon charges is what puts Death Prophet in a very broken tier. Yeah, so try and know how to find these openings to dive. Hey guys, before we continue with this video, I would like to just take a quick moment to ask that you like, comment, share and subscribe to my videos and YouTube channel. Your support will really help me grow my channel. Also, you can check out my Fiverr page if you're interested in coaching sessions with me. Thank you. Now once the Death Prophet starts getting level 5, it's gonna become even more ridiculous, because like look at what Magnus attempts to do here by trying to skewer Death Prophet into the tower. Because of the Spirit Siphon that she has, the tower does literally nothing to her. Now, can you guys imagine if this is what one Siphon does? If this guy had 3 charges of Siphon with mana and health, the lane is gonna go very bad for this guy. Okay, so understanding when you are strong enough to do this all the way, to push the wave, kill the creeps, dive the hero under his tower, combo that with glyph on your creeps, and then just dive the guy all the way to tier 2, killing him here will speed up the entire pace of the game. Because when you do this, high chance the side lanes have to react by helping this guy. That will indirectly create a lot of space for your teammates to free farm. Okay? So a lot of players, they tend to think that when side lanes are failing or losing, they have no part to play in it, but they have bad teammates. That is far from the truth, because if you know how to win your lane, you know how to crush your lane, you are going to draw a lot of attention from side lanes to you. And when you play a hero like Death Prophet that's able to even further accelerate this process, the whole game pace for your teammates will be so easy. Because everyone tries to kill you, but they cannot, because of how broken this hero is with so many siphon charges plus ult to literally kill people that come to you instead. So you need to treat yourself when you're playing Death Prophet as a black hole of attention. Rather than making ganks like this happen, right, you are going to draw ganks to you. And that starts from the laning phase. A good Death Prophet should not lose the laning phase, unless you get ganked and all when you're early levels. But really, a good Death Prophet will most of the time, I can guarantee 95% of the time, if you're playing in the lower brackets of below 5k MMR, you will not lose the lane, if you know how to execute this Spirit Siphon dive process. Now all the Death Prophet has to do is to wait for the regeneration from water runes, right? get her health and mana back up high, especially her mana. That's why she has mangoes here. This student bought mangoes here, because he's getting ready to abuse the 3 siphon charges to dive this guy all the way. But throughout the entire laning phase, you guys can still see how he is trying to prep multiple creeps to bait the enemy hero with a swarm, so he maximizes last hits and harass on the hero. The thing I've mentioned at level 1, you will actually do that throughout the entire laning phase. Okay, so at level 1, the swarm is more to secure contested creeps, meaning if the enemy hero attempts to deny their creep, the swarm will secure that creep and hit the enemy hero. But once you get to 3, 4 and 5, more points in swarm will be used to also harass the enemy hero, even if the hero is not contesting the creep. So example, if this guy saw the Magnus and he saw 2 of these creeps, he's actually allowed to first spell down like this, because now the swarm does a lot of damage compared to level 1. Okay, but at level 1, if this guy is at level 1 and the creeps are like this, uncontested, then most likely he wouldn't be swarming this, because it does not a lot of damage to the enemy hero. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Alright, now this guy has built up his mana. He's getting close to level 6. He has close to 3 Spirit Siphon charges, which is going to allow him to dive this hero really soon. Okay, see how he's still playing, swarm with the enemy hero. Still contesting denies. Still harassing as well when there's nothing to do. Still setting up creeps. Now he's gonna swarm to harass again. That's really good. Now he's 6, he can pop the mango, pop the ult, siphon and dive. Exactly like this. This is really good. So once he successfully he could have fairy fired and Spirit Siphon a creep, but he didn't do it. That's fine, but he still successfully executed the plan, just not perfectly. With the advantage that this guy has created on himself for Death Prophet so far, by swarming creeps, securing creeps, harassing, siphoning, diving and winning almost every trait, because of how well he executes them according to how Death Prophet plays the lane, right? His plan now should be to push the tower down, because when you are strong enough, you need to start thinking about breaking the tower. And Death Prophet excels really well in this, because she is able to push the enemy heroes out of the tower very easily by diving past with a creep wave into their tower. Especially if she has ult. Even without ult, you can do this. So right now, this guy's plan should be to hasten the push and dive the Magnus again to kill him, since the level lead is high. Almost 7 to 5 soon. Okay, so he's just killing creeps, speeding up his level 7. Now he knows he's 7, he's strong enough to dive the Magnus if Magnus attempts to come and defend the tower or fight him. Also, note that this guy already has a ward ready to go. If you guys have watched my other video about how to perfect the first 20 minutes on Lina, that's actually the same thing you would try and do across majority of other mid lane heroes. Right, once you win the lane, you break the tower. The next thing we always think about are wards getting ready to be planted into their jungle camps, onto their cleaves. If you are able to successfully ward like 4 of the cleaves, which are 1, 2, 3 cleaves and 1 of this spot, immediately your mid lane is secured for sure, because you have information and access to all of their camps around you, around the mid lane, which are the triangle and also the jungle camps here, and you can easily connect to both of the side lanes without fear. So in a nutshell, the mid lane's job is to dominate the lane, win the lane, break the tower, zone the enemy hero out or kill him, start warding up their entire jungle, and then just control this area and let that control lead you to other areas. Okay, Death Prophet does really well in this, because as mentioned, if people attempt to gank her, they die. If she ganks people, they also die. But still, being able to execute the laning phase like this is what matters. So if you try to push without vision, you try to dive without advantage, without health and mana advantage, without an ult or something, then the plan will not succeed. Okay, so here he's tanking the tower to prevent the catapult from breaking, so he can speed up the push. Taking the arcane rune, going back to mid lane, getting ready to dive the Magnus for sure here. Yup, like this. See, he kicks the Magnus away, plants a ward on the lane so he gives information to himself. Now they attempt to gank him, but they cannot kill him because he's a Death Prophet. Like I said, Death Prophet does not die to ganks if you know what you're doing like this. The Siphon keeps her alive so long that she can turn and kill the enemy's hero instead. Okay, that whole sequence was a bit she played it well, but she didn't execute it as well, otherwise he could have killed them. So here he's ulting, siphoning, getting a kill again, a good gank from Snapfire. Now this will lead into a tower push with the wave, and she just siphons back up again. See, this hero is insanely broken with free regen, free sustain. Access to both of the rune control will make you even more broken because you do not die. Your health and mana always goes back up with siphon and bottle charges and harass and farm like this.
Yeah, I know we lost touch, but I'm still here. We were young, we were kids, it was something rare. I told you everything, but when it all burned down and you were left with nothing, did you question God or did you see it coming? Come on, oh come on, yeah. When it all burned down and you lost my number, or you couldn't even call, didn't know if you recovered or not. Come on. When it all burned down and you were left with nothing, did you question God or did you see it coming? Come on, come on.
Once you get to this point, the game plan is actually really simple. So we have established control over the mid lane. Everything that happens on the side lanes you shouldn't really think about unless it's a potential fight that you can go and connect to. Otherwise, do not go there with intent to help, right? Because if you go, you're gonna give up the control that you have at mid. So all you have to do now, if you are given a sim scenario, is keep the lane pushed in and invade their jungle camps, steal their jungle away from them. Anyone that you run into, you're gonna kick them away with Siphon. Even if they decide to throw a few heroes at you, ideally you should have ult you can turn on them. If you do not have ult, you can still Spirit Siphon and turn the fight against them. Okay? So you can see this guy is just taking away the farm. Like we said, we wanna just steal farm. We don't wanna move down like this and give up control of what we have here. So we keep the mid lane pushed in all the time. Okay, he's going there, kicking this guy away, making sure he doesn't catch back up to farm. And he always lets the wave push a wave, goes into the next wave and is able to take the next wave as well. Also notice that he already has wards ready to go again in the enemy's triangle, cleave, yep, also with sentries. So no way anyone can come and invade against, can come and claim back the area that this Death Prophet has invaded against. Now this Magnus might attempt to skewer her back. He doesn't get skewered, but it's still really strong to dive. So as long as you have Siphon, don't be afraid to dive like this, even past tier 3. Over here he could have survived if he popped his ult, used the bottle charges and Spirit Siphon instead of running away, but he chose to TP away, so that's a misplay from his side. Definitely could have killed the heroes here and still get away with it with Siphon and bottle and ult. But the point of showing you guys that entire sequence of what happened was to emphasize that if you have Spirit Siphon charges and you see heroes, don't be afraid to just ult and dive them, even if they throw like 3 heroes on you. Of course, depending on the type of heroes, like if they have a Doom or something that disables you from moving like a Chrono or Black Hole, then definitely you have to be careful a bit. But generally, in most cases, I would say you should be looking to dive like that, because that creates a lot of space for your side lanes. Okay, now she spawns and she's back to doing what he needs to be doing again, which is to keep the lane pushed in, take over the jungle, ensure that his wards does not get dewarded, right, and still just keep kicking heroes out until he sees an opportunity where it's 100% cleanup like this, a good fight, then he will come. So you guys can see how you need to be controlling mid until some fight that's good like this happens for you to TP2 and clean up. And these fights will normally lead into objectives and pushes also. Okay, over here he just back to mid, pushing out the wave, pushing another wave on top of that. So when you guys are playing, same thing, do what this guy is doing, keeping lanes pushed in. Don't just do one wave and run. Most people just do a wave and run. Make sure you do waves into camps if you can. A lot of forwards movement. Now because of what this guy has done, you can see how the side lanes have so much space to just do practically what they want. And this post 1 is also just free farming the ancients behind to speed up farm as he connects forwards eventually. So this Death Prophet has succeeded in drawing all the attention to him, being level 11 in 12 minutes and drawing all the attention to him. Now obviously when you do this, you don't want to feed, you don't want to die, right? So you have to still assess whether or not the threats are going to kill you, whether or not there's going to be dangerous heroes that can prevent you from doing what this guy is trying to do here, right? Meaning forwards movement, invasion of jungle. Always identify which hero on the enemy side can pose a threat to you. Like if you're really far ahead like this, 2 to 3 levels ahead of their highest level, most of the time I would say if you have wards in your jungle and you're ahead like this with teammates behind you, really nothing can go wrong. So just keep going forwards, keep the lanes pushed in, and just keep spamming their jungle camps, ensuring that the enemy map becomes smaller and smaller every time. So the early game, like once you go past the laning, the game is like 10 plus minutes, it's considered early game phase now. Or you can still see how this guy is freaking diving tier 2 with siphon charges, unkillable. Okay, as I was saying, once it gets into early game phase, the plan is quite simple. All you guys want to do is, again, ensure all lanes are pushed in, ensure their jungle camps are invaded. If your teammates are not here, try and call your teammates over. But you have to be the one that opens up the lead for your teammates. So your own wards, your own sentries on the cliffs, in the jungle camp, on the cliffs, all has to be done by you. By doing so, enable your teammates confidence to just walk in and play with you. Right, it's a big part of setting the game pace early on. So you choke them in their base, and then your teammates are just allowed to just keep moving up and keep the lanes pushed in. In this part of the game, early game phase, nearing your black him bar timing, all you wanna do is just chill and keep pushing lanes in. Try not to force any towers with your ult unless a fight breaks out of that. Right? Like this, yep, a fight breaks out. He starts a fight. This ult is gonna lead to a few heroes dying, and that should lead to a push eventually. But you never want to be forcing towers down without killing heroes in the first place. Otherwise, a lot of throws can happen. So it must be a slow siege if heroes are still alive. You cannot full commit to a tower. Like see there, he's just taking his time, not really going all the way in until his teammates decide to jump. Okay, then he can go all the way in now. Okay, this is really good, really good. You guys can see how with Exorcism, just run deep into the fight, pop your siphon and start chaining people. Yeah, do not be afraid and stand behind. Without your spells, without siphon, of course you need to start keeping distance. But if you have siphon, then go in and actually do things in a fight. I want you guys to look at how this guy has literally just stood mid, connect to the jungle camps, and not moved. People move to him instead. Look at the efficiency and the space he has created for his teammates and his post 1 especially. That's just been free farming the entire game, right? It's really good. So level 14 in 16 minutes post 1, level 13 in 16 minutes post 2. A lot of space for his teammate. Still ensuring lanes are pushed in, ensuring the enemy's map is small, not forcing anything, otherwise throwing the game possibly until he gets a black him bar before he decides to go all into a tower. In a way, you almost want to ensure that your exorcism is used off cooldown. That means when it's off cooldown, you want to play more aggressively. Either you're gonna move into the enemy's jungle to invade and get kills, or your exorcism will lead into convenient towers like this. But this is actually quite risky from his side. I wouldn't say that this is the right thing to do. Yeah, because he can easily die like this. Yup. It's going to die like this. Okay. Yeah, definitely that wasn't the play to make. That was too risky. See, this is what I mean by just because you have ult, it doesn't mean you force the tower when all heroes are alive. If you have your ult and all heroes are alive, exorcism shouldn't be popped. It should be saved for a fight that can break out, or until you see enemy heroes on the other side, then your exorcism can be used to take a free tower. Otherwise, if you do not see the enemy heroes, avoid doing what this guy just showed, because he could have died easily there. But now that he has his black him bar, then definitely he needs to start playing more aggressively off cooldown. The key timing for Death Prophet is black him bar plus ult. Every time you have black him bar and ult, just go forwards because nothing can go wrong really. But when you do not have black him bar, you want to chill a bit more, especially if the game starts going 15 minutes above and you do not have such a big lead yet without black him bar. Then you want to chill and just keep waves pushed in without trying to force towers down. Okay, but the entirety of time still, I am emphasizing over and over again, this guy never once moved back to his jungle. If you are a good mid laner and you're playing the mid area, you always want to ensure your advantage is forwards, not backwards. This is something that a lot of low MMR players tend to do because they fear without confirmation, right? Meaning you guys might push a wave and decide to run when in reality 3 heroes were showing on the map earlier, and that could have allowed you to move in and take control over the jungle camps instead. Plus the lack of vision, the lack of wards further prevent you guys from doing this. So a lot of things could be learned from watching this guy so far. You could watch that after the lane, the way he played the lane was quite well because he frequently swarmed to secure creeps, frequently swarmed to harass enemy hero, right? Right click the hero and siphon a lot, dive the tower, break the tower, start jungling, start warding in the jungle camps, and then he just stood around. Everyone that came to him was a lot of space for the side lanes to be pushed in. So his mid lane never got pushed in, his top lane also rally, bot lane rally, because of what he keeps doing around mid side. Of course, you guys cannot just AFK like this in this area. If enemies are fighting on the side lanes on your teammates and it's a good fight, definitely you TP to connect, right? Do not just sit at mid. But if the fights are not good, then definitely just sit mid, push the wave in, keep the camps taken, keep your vision secured, and potentially let that lead you into ganks. Now with ult and BKB coming off cooldown, or having both off cooldown, it will really start to tell you to gather your team, right? If possible, try and tell your team to connect, and just start pushing out towers, start pushing out waves. With the BKB, if there are no heroes that can prevent you from moving like a Chrono or Black Hole or Doom, right? Then really just start trying to force waves down, hit the towers down. See how in 20 minutes the game pace had been sped up so much. His entire team had all the space to just keep waves pushed in, keep lanes pushed in, have free farm, ensure their towers are not broken because they always are relieving pressure because of what this mid laner is doing at mid. Right, in 20 minutes already this guy is able to go high ground. So with BKB, of course you don't have to fear if there are nothing in the enemy side that can kill you. Play more aggressively like this. Anything goes wrong, you can always black him bar and fight. Okay, here again you see the black him bar being off cooldown, you see exorcism being used. So that will tell you to push the tower like this guy, and that will easily lead to like a good fight. Okay, and the game is pretty much about to be done in 5 more minutes. So I hope this video has made sense to you guys in terms of how to play the lane strong as Death Prophet, how to come out of lane ahead, right? How to start warding jungle camps on cliffs on the enemy side, how to not waste time TPing and moving to break the side lanes instead of connecting through the jungle camps into side lanes, which is much better for control purposes. And then just chilling in the early game until you hit your black kim bar before you really decide to go in and attempt high ground or do a fight or do a tower push into 5 heroes alive. Because generally you don't want to be pushing when 5 heroes are alive, otherwise the throw chance is very high, like what this guy did earlier. But the moment he got his black kim bar, the game smoothened out a lot, right? All he had to do is BKB ult. So I hope this video makes sense, and I can guarantee that if you guys are able to execute Death Prophet like this, definitely you'll win more than 80% of your games. Like my student that went from 2k to 3k in 3 weeks, easily you should be able to achieve that as well. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.